This conference will now be recorded.
And guys, good evening. Let us start the session. Let me go and open the course content. Fine. In yesterday's class, we discussed about how to design the galleries, discussed about how to design the gallery customizations, and also we discussed about how to create a grid view in the galleries. So creating the grid view in the galleries is nothing but what? Showing the data, showing the data in the galleries in the form of a tables. By default, we are not able to show the data in the galleries in the form of a table. So whenever if you want to display the data in the galleries in the form of one table, in the form of the tables, then in this case, you need to go and customize the gallery. If you are able to customize the galleries, by customizing the galleries, we are able to show the data in the form of tables. Showing the data in the form of tabular format in the galleries is known as grid view. How to create a grid view in the Power Apps, how to show the data in the galleries in grid view. Already we discussed it. In yesterday's class we discussed. And now in today's session we are going to discuss about one of the concept, that is data tables. So somehow whatever we are discussed in the previous classes, in the last three classes we discussed about the galleries. Somehow these galleries are related to this data tables. Why I'm stressing this point here is grid view. We discussed about how to display the data in the gallery in the tabular format. That means tabular format means grid view. Now the same data, if you want to show in the tabular format, means there is another control in the Power Apps. The what is the control? It is data types. Sorry, data tables. Now what is this data tables means? These data tables are used to display the data in the form of a table in Power Apps. Within the Power Apps, if whenever if you want to display the data in the form of a table, in the form of a table, in this case, you can go and use the data tables. You can go and use what? Data tables. Now with the help of gallery, you can design the gallery in a grid view. Galleries also you are able to show the data in the form of tabular format, but you need to design it. But here no need to go and design. Directly you can go and use this control data tables. It is one of the control. This data tables is used for what? To display the data in the form of a table in Power Apps. Now let me go and open one notepad and let me explain you what is meant with this data tables, when to use it, and also we'll discuss what are the limitations we have in the data tables and what are the limitations we have in the galleries. And also we'll discuss about what is the differences between the galleries and data tables. We'll discuss now. So let me go and open notepad. Let me explain what is meant this data tables case. So let me open this notepad. Now see, now we're going to discuss about what is meant with these data types. Now try to understand, guys. As I said that already, what is the use of these data types? First of all, data types, this data type, data tables, data tables is one of the control. Data table is one of the control in the Power Apps. Now, what we can do with this data tables means, see, data table control is used to display the data in the form of tables. Is used to display the data in the form of table. Whenever if you want to display the data in the form of table, if you want to display the data in the form of table, then you can go and use one control. What's that control? We can go and use it here is data tables. So that's what I'm keeping here, guys. Data table control is one of the control used to display the data in the form of tables. That means, let us say I'm having one SharePoint list. I'm having a list in the SharePoint. I'm having a list in the SharePoint SharePoint list is there. Now what's my requirement here is, whatever the data I'm having the SharePoint list, I want to display that data in the Power Apps. I want to display that data in the Power Apps in the form of a table. Whenever if you want to display the data which is stored in the SharePoint list, in Power Apps in the form of a table, then you can go and use what here is data tables. With the help of data tables, you are able to display that data in the form of tables. Now see, the next point you need to understand here is, we are not able to perform any actions on the data tables case. See, what is the use of these data tables means? These are used to just to display the data. Data tables are used for what? Just to display the data in the form of a table. If you want to perform any actions, we are not able to perform any actions on the data tables case. It is possible to perform any actions on the data tables means no, we are not able to perform any actions in the data tables. Now see, what I am keeping here is the second point, we are not able to perform any actions on the data tables. What is meant by actions? You will understand, guys. You will understand. I will explain you. And next point here is that data tables automatically display the data in the form of a table. Now see, let me keep here display. Now see, if you want to display the data in the gallery in the form of a table, you need to design the galleries. Let me open the Power Apps and let me show you. Let me open the Power Apps. Let it open. Fine. If you see here, this is called as a grid view case. This is one gallery, already we discussed it. In the gallery, I am showing the data in the form of what? I'm showing the data in the form of a table. So this is called as a grid view. Already we discussed it. This is called as what? Grid view. How to design the galleries in the grid view. Now see, by default, you are able to display the data in the form of a table within the galleries. You are able to display the data by default in the form of a table. No, it is not possible. If you want to show the data in the galleries in the form of a table like this, tabular structure, you need to design it. We are designing this. We discussed about how to design the gallery like this. Already discussed it. But if you are using the data table, no need to go and design the data table, guys. It is one control. Directly, what the data tables will do, data tables automatically displays the data in the form of what? Tables. You no need to go and design anything there. Just to go and use one control data tables. This data tables will automatically displays the data in the form of what? Tables. So this is that one of the difference, guys. What's the difference between the data tables and galleries means? If you are using the gallery to display the data in the form of table means directly we are not able to show the data in this format. If you want to show the data in this format in the gallery, you need to design it. Already we discussed it how to design. But if you go and use the data table, you don't need to go and design this view case. You don't need to go and design the structure like this. The data table itself automatically displays the data in the form of what? Table. The same view, the same structure, the data table will create it. No need to go and design it. This is the third point you need to understand. And now see, I said that we are not able to perform any actions on the data tables. If there is a data table, we are not able to perform any actions on this data tables case. Actions is nothing but, see, it is not possible to perform any actions. Like, what are the actions, guys? If you want to view the data, if you want to edit the data, or if you want to delete the data in the data tables, if you want to perform the view, edit and delete the data within the data tables, if you want to perform these actions, we are not able to perform the actions like view, edit and deleting the data within the data tables, guys. We are not able to perform these actions. But whereas coming to the gallery, if you go and see another gallery, let me open another app. Let me open this grid view. This is the grid view. Let it open. Now see here guys. Now see, this is the gallery. I'm preparing this grid view. We are preparing this grid view. Already we discussed this, how to create a grid view. Now see, within the gallery, this is the gallery. Within the gallery, you are able to view the data. You are able to view the data. You are able to edit the data. You are able to delete the data. If you are creating a gallery in the grid view, within the gallery, if you want to view the data, you are able to view the data. When I click on the view button, we are able to view it. Or if you want to edit this data, if you can edit it. If you select click on this edit icon, you are able to edit the data now. Or if you want to delete the record, when I click on this delete icon, we're able to delete it. So within the gallery, you are able to perform these actions. You can view the data, complete data, you can edit the data, you can delete the data. But if you go and create a data table, if you go and create a data table, it is not possible to perform any actions like view, edit, and delete the data within the data tables. Within the data tables, you are not able to perform these actions. But there is a way where you can go and perform these actions guys. Within the data tables, it is not possible to perform it, but you can perform in another way. What is another way is, see, it is possible to view, edit, or delete delete the data outside of the data table case. Try to understand. It is possible to view, edit, delete outside of the data tables. Let me keep here. It is not possible to view, edit, delete the data, delete the data outside of the data tables, outside of the data tables, outside of the data table using what button. Within the data table, within the data tables, you are not able to perform these operations. But if you go and use the gallery, within the gallery you are able to perform these operations. But here, if you want to perform those operations in the data tables, means within the data table we are not able to perform, but there is a way but there is a way where you can go and perform it. How to perform it means, it is possible to view, edit, or delete the data outside of the data tables case. Outside of the data table, you are able to perform the view, edit, and delete operations. By using what you can perform means, by using the buttons. With the help of one button, we're able to perform the view operation, edit operation, and delete operations. I will show you how to perform it. So first of all, keep in mind these points, guys. First point you need to understand here is, what is a data table? Data table is one of the control which is used to display the data in the form of a table in Power Apps. And within these data tables, you are able to perform any actions means, no, we are not able to perform any actions on the data tables. And also, these data tables automatically displays the data in the form of a table. Automatically, if you are using the data tables, it will automatically displays the data in the form of what? Table. But if you go and use a gallery, by default we are able to show the data in the form of this table means, no, we need to design it. But here, no need to go and design this. And next point, we are not, as I said, that we are not able to perform the actions like view, edit, and delete operations on that within the data tables. But outside of the data table, outside of the data tables, by using one button, you are able to perform view, edit, and delete actions. How to perform it, I will show you. So let me go to the Power Apps and let me show you how to perform these actions, guys. Now see, already I'm having some screens in this. Already I'm having some screens. This is the grid view where I am showing the data in the form of a table. This is all about customization. So already we discussed it. Now let me add another screen. Now let me keep the screen name as, let me remove the screen. Go to this. Let me remove the screen. Let me rename this screen. Let me rename this screen to data tables. Let me rename this screen to data tables. Now see here guys, in this screen I need to go and create one. I need to show the data in the form of a table with the help of data control. So first of all, let me go and add that control. Let me keep some header here. Let me copy this header and keep it here. Let me change the header to data tables. Data tables. Now see here guys. Now let me go and add another one control. Now go to the insert tab and search here data table. Now see, there is one control called data table. It is in the preview feature now. It is not completely developed. It is a preview feature. Let me click on the data table. Let me add this control. When I add it, now see, this is the data table. Now whenever I add the data table, this is one of the control. Now see, it is asking us to connect to the data. It is asking us to connect to the data. If you observe here, this data table is not connected to any data yet. Now let me go and connect to the data. Now see, there is list is there. I am having some list here. Students gallery. Students gallery is one of the list I'm having. Let's say I want to display this data, or let me do one thing. Go to the grid view. What data I'm showing here? The same data only. Percentage complete. Students dot gallery is there. One list is there. Already we discussed about what is this list, how to create it. Now I want to display that list data in the data table. Now select the data table. Select the data source here. Here you can go and select the data, or select the data table. From here also you can go and select the data source. What's my data source? Students dot gallery. Select this one. Now see, whenever I select the data source, automatically it is creating one tabular structure, guys. Automatically it is creating what? One table where I am displaying the complete data in the form of a table. Now see, in this, let me select the data table. I don't want to keep this attachments control. Let me remove it. How to remove it? As we have the galleries edit fields, here the data tables also have the edit fields. Go to the edit fields and remove this attachments data card. Remove the attachments data card. And now see, these are the data cards I want to display here. Now see here, guys, if you are using the data table, by default, as I said, that it is creating some, it is displaying the data in the form of what? It is displaying the data in the form of a table or not? Yes, it is displaying the data in the form of a table. But if you go with the gallery, if you go to the gallery grid view here, if you go to the gallery grid view, by default we are able to show the data like this within the galleries. Means no, you need to go and do some customizations. Already we discussed it, how to create the galleries like this in a grid view. But here in the data tables, the designing is simple. The designing is simple, guys. No need to go and design it. And also you are not able to perform any designs here. You are not able to design the data tables by your own. By default, the data table itself will create one design. You need to follow it. There is no customizations in the data tables. Now see, by default it is creating one header. It is creating one header. Under that it is displaying some data. So if I want to increase the size of this, select all this one, and somewhere we have the font. I think there is no font also for these data tables. Let me select the data table. Let me go to the font. We need to increase the font at a time, I think. Now here, guys, this is the data we are displaying. Even you are not able to increase the size also. Let us say the email ID size I want to increase. If I want to increase the email ID size, somehow you can increase, I think. Yes, you are able to increase it. But automatically see, remaining all the columns are adjusted, guys. Remaining all the columns are adjusted here. Whenever if you increase the or decrease the size of any one of the column, automatically the remaining columns, the size and width also is automatically setting. But in the gallery, it is not possible. You need to automate it. You need to do some customizations in order to go and perform it. Already we discussed it, how to perform these customizations. So this is what the data table, this is what the data table and how it is going to display the data. As I said that it is possible to perform any actions on this data tables. Means no. Now see, you are not able to perform any actions, guys. And also if you want to add any controls to this, we are not able to add any controls within this data table. Within the data table we are not able to add any controls. But in the gallery, if you want to add any controls to the gallery, you can go and add those controls. But in the data tables, if you go and select the data table, if I go and add one button, if I go and add one button, now see where the button is added? Outside of the data table. We are not able to keep the controls within the data tables. So it is not possible. So this is what is the difference between the gallery and data tables, guys. And now see, as I said that we are not able to perform any operations, any actions like view, edit, delete actions within the data table. Now see, within this data table, If I want to view the data, I want to view this data in the form of in the one form mode means no, it is not possible to view. Even though if you add any control, let's say I want to add the view control to this. It is possible to add the view control means no, it is not there. Let us say I want to add the edit control. Let me add the edit control. Now see, it is possible to add the edit control within the data table means no, it is not possible. Where it is adding? Outside of the data table. So we are not able to perform any customizations, or we are not able to perform any actions like viewing the data, editing the data, and deleting the data within the data tables. We are not able to perform any operations within the data tables. We are not able to perform, but I said that we are able to perform this view, edit, and delete actions outside of the data table by using one button, guys. With the help of one button outside of the data table, you are able to perform these three actions. Now let me show you how to perform these actions. These are the syntaxes to perform the actions. First, let me show you what is my requirement here is, if you go to the data table, whenever I select any one of the item in the data table, that item details I want to display in the one form. I want to see that item details in one form, that too in the view mode. That too in which mode? In the view mode. It is not possible to perform those operations within the data table, but outside of the data table it is possible. How it is possible means, let us say I'm adding one button here. Let me add one button. Now see, on select of this button, currently it is false. Now I'm using the navigate function here. I'm using the navigate function here. Navigate to which screen I want to navigate, guys? I want to navigate to the form screen. Whatever the data I'm selecting in this data table, I want to display that data in this form. Now I want to navigate to the form screen. So go to this button, navigate to which screen? Form screen, and keep comma. Next, if you observe here, it is asking us to pass the transaction. Let us say the transaction is cover. Let me select any one, guess. It is not a matter which one you are selecting. Let me keep it as cover. Now keep comma. Next, it is asking us to pass the context. Now what is the context means? Whatever the item I'm selecting in this data table, let's say if I select the first item, if I select this first item, that item details I want to display in this form screen. That is what my requirement. In order to perform this requirement, let me select this one from here to here, guys. Just copy it and paste it here. Paste it here. Now see, I'm declaring one variable. What is this means? Local variable, guys. This is like a local variable. I'm declaring one variable. Selected item is the name. Selected is the item name. In this variable, what I am entering here is data table one dot selected. Data table one. This is the data table name. Whatever the item I am going to select in this data table, that item values I want to store in this variable. Simple. Data table dot selected. Whatever the item I am going to select in the data table, that item details I want to display in this variable. Now just close it. And then after, next I'm going to write another function here. What is the function here is, I'm going to keep the form as a view form. View form, which form I want to view? What is the form name? I think it is form 2. Yes, it is form 2. Let me check what is the name of the form. Form 2. Now I want to go to the form screen. The form name is form 2. View form, which form? Form 2. This is what my requirement. Simple guess. Navigate to which screen? Form screen. Into the form screen, what data I want to display, whatever the value I'm going to select in the data table, that item values I want to store in this variable, and then that variable values I want to display in this form. Now just select it, save the app, and play the app. Now see, let us say I'm selecting which employee details here. Finch. I'm selecting on what? Finch. Now whenever I select the Finch here, that details, selected item in the data table, that details is going to be storing in that variable. Now on select of this button, I want to navigate to the form screen, and in the form screen, it's not displaying. Just 1 second. Go to the items property. Let me keep here data table. Data table 1 dot selected. Now see, I'm able to see it, guys. I'm not changing the items property here. Previously it is in the gallery. Now I'm changing it. Now save it. Now let me go to the data table. Select this. Play the app now. Now see here, guys. I'm selecting the Smith employee details here. Now click on the button. Now see, I'm able to view those employee details, Smith employee complete details in the form. So if you want to view the data, whatever you are selecting in the data table, directly you are not able to perform those operations within the data tables, but outside of the data table you are able to perform by using what? With the help of this button. Now see, on select of this button in the form, I'm able to view the data. But now my requirement here is I want to edit the data. If you see, by default now when I click on this, select the Finch employee details, click on the button. Now I'm not able to edit it, guys. It is not allowing to edit. I'm able to see the data view form. I want to edit the data. If you want to edit the data, now what I will do here is go to this button. Now in place of view form, I want to going to keep it as a edit form. I'm going to keep it as what? Edit form. Edit form. Which form? Form 2. Now go and play the app. Now see, I'm selecting the Warner employee details. Now click on the button. Now when I click on this button, it will navigate to the form screen. And in the form screen, it is going to display this employee details. Employee details. And now if you want to do any changes, you can do. If you want to do any changes here, let us say I want to change the status of this employee, guys. Status of the course. Let's say I'm keeping it to completed. Completed. Once after changing it, you can keep the button here, submit button, and you can click on the submit. That data is going to be stored into the data sources. Like this, if you want to edit the data that is selected on the data table, then you can go and use this function. This is syntax. Next, I want to delete the data, guys. Whatever the item I am selecting in this data table, that item I want delete. If you want to delete the item, then what you can do here is, let me comment these values, comment these two. Now what I'm going to do here is, now I'm going to use this function, guys, to delete the data. Remove the data, just copy it, go to this, paste it here. Remove the data from where? Let me remove this first of all. Remove the data source. From where you want to remove the data? I want to remove the data in the list. What is the list name? Students.gallery. Now keep comma. Next, what you want to delete in this gallery, in this list? Data table dot selected. Data table 1 dot selected. Whatever the item you are selecting, in the gallery, whatever, not gallery, data table, whatever the item you are going to select in this data table, that item values I want to remove when I click on this button, guys. Now see, just 1 second, go to this. We need to keep this one. No need to keep. Let me comment it. Uh, Go and play the app now. Now see here, guys, I'm selecting the Finch employee details. Now click on the button. Now on select of this button, what need to happen? I need to delete the data. What data? Whatever the item I'm selecting in this data table, that item details I want to delete from the list. Now click on this button. Now see, automatically that employee details is deleted. Finch employee. Now if I select the Smith, now when I click on this button, now Smith employee details is deleted. So like this, you are able to perform view, edit and delete actions outside of the data tables with the help of one button, but we are not able to perform this view, edit, delete actions within the data table. So this is what the difference. But if you go to the gallery, if you go and use the gallery, within the galleries you are able to perform view, edit and delete. But if you go and use the data tables, in the data tables, we are within the data tables, you are not able to perform the view, edit, and delete actions. Outside of the data table, we are able to perform it. So this is what the data tables guys. This is what is meant by data tables. And see, next, let me list out what is the differences between the galleries and the data tables guys. Let me list out the differences. What are the differences between this is? These are the differences. Anyway, whatever points I'm keeping here, these points I'm listed here also. So try to understand the differences between the gallery and data tables. When to use the gallery, when to use the data tables. Try to understand differences between the galleries and the data tables. Important point here, sometimes you will get the questions in the interviews. So what is the first difference is, in the gallery, we need to create the headers manually. If you see, there is a gallery here. This is the gallery we created. For this gallery, automatically we are getting this header means no. This header is created by us. We need to create the headers for the galleries. But if you go to the data tables, in the data tables, you need to go and create the headers means no. The headers will automatically created. Data tables, it will automatically creates the headers. If you go to the data table, if you see this header is created by us, no, this header is automatically created by the data table. This is the first difference. What's the first difference is, if you go and use the gallery, if you want to create the header, you need to design the header manually. But in the data tables, no need to go and design the header manually. Data table itself will automatically create one header. The second difference is, in the gallery, the second difference is, it is difficult to design the gallery in grid view. It is difficult to design the gallery in the grid view. So whenever if you want to show the data in the grid view, we need to design it. If you see, this is the grid view, this is the grid view, and this is the gallery we are using. Now, by default, we are able to display the data like this. By default, we are able to display the data like this in the gallery. No, we need to design it. We need to put some lot of efforts. But whereas coming to the data tables, by default, it is going to design this structure. No need to go and design this one, guys. Simply, you can, if you connect to the data source, it will automatically create one header. Automatically, it will create one table structure. The designing is simple. In the data tables, it is easy to design the data tables. No need to go and do any customizations. Easy to design the data tables. But if you want to display the data in the form of a table with the help of galleries, you need to put some lot of efforts to design the gallery in the grid view. This second difference. And third difference is, by default, galleries are not responsive, guys. By default, galleries are not responsive. But whereas data tables, by default, data tables are more responsive. Responsive means, if you see, responsive is nothing but auto sizing. It will automatically resize that data table when we add or remove the columns. That means whenever if you add or remove the columns to the data table, it will automatically adjust the size. How it will adjust? If you go to the data table, see, this is the data table. Select the data table here. Now let us say I'm removing one column from this data table, guys. Let us say I'm removing the trainer column. Let us say I'm removing the trainer column. If I remove the column, now see, automatically it is adjusting the space. It is equally adjusting the space for each field or a column. Or if I add another column, if I add a field, let's say what is the field we remove? Trainer, right? If I add the trainer now see, automatically it is adjusting the sizes of the data tables. So whenever if you add or delete the fields in the data table, automatically it will adjust the size. And also if you see, if I reduce the size of the data table, automatically it is going to adjust the size. If you see, it is adjusting some size here. If you increase it, automatically it will increase the width also. It will, if you reduce, it will reduce. So like this, by default, the data tables are more responsive, but the galleries are not responsive, guys. Whatever you are designing in the Power Apps is not responsive, you need to make it as responsive. So already we discussed how to make the galleries as responsive in the yesterday's class. In the previous class, when I'm discussing about the grid view, if you observe here, if I reduce the size of this, if I reduce the size of this student name, automatically the remaining all the sizes also will be reduces. If I increase it, automatically remaining all the sizes also will be increased. You see, observe, if I reduce this, the remaining all will be reduced. If I increase this width, automatically the remaining all that controls width will be increases. So it is by default will come? No. Already we discussed it, how to do these customizations. By default, the gallery is not responsive. We need to make it as responsive. So this is the third difference case. This is the third difference. And fourth difference is between the galleries and data tables. It is possible to perform the customizations like adding the columns to the gallery, adding the images to the gallery, and you can do the formattings for the fields. That means for the gallery, for the galleries, this is the gallery. For the gallery, if you want to add some icons, you can add. If you want to add any images to the gallery, you can add. If you want to add some custom columns, if you want to add any custom column to this gallery, you can add. You can perform all the customizations. But whereas coming to the data table, it is not possible to perform the customizations like adding the columns. If you want to add the columns which is not there in the data source to the data tables, means it is not possible. But if you want to add the columns which is not there in the data source to the galleries, you are able to add it. And also you are not able to add the images to the data tables. You are not able to do the formatting also. If you see, if you select any item here in the gallery, you can do some formatting. There is some lot of options for us to format. But if you go to the data table, if you select any field, now see there is no options to format that data. So this is the another difference. So the fourth difference here is it is not possible to perform the customizations like adding the new columns which is not there in the data. Sorry, in the gallery we are able to add the columns which is not there in the data source. We can add the images, we can add the formattings to the fields in the gallery, but in the data tables not possible. We are not able to add the columns which is not there in the data source. We are not able to add the images to the data tables. We are not able to do any formattings to the fields in the data tables. This is the fourth difference. And finally, the fifth difference here is in the gallery it is possible to perform the actions like view, edit, and delete the data within the gallery. Within the galleries, we're able to perform these three actions case. If you go, as I said that, if you go to the gallery, you are able to view the data, you can edit the data, and you can delete the data within the gallery. But if you go to the data table, if you go to the data tables, it is not possible to perform the actions like view, edit, and delete the data within the data tables. Within the data tables, if you want to perform, let me go to the data tables. Within the data table, if you want to perform view, if you want to perform the actions like viewing the data, if you want to perform the actions like edit the data, or if you want to perform the actions like delete the data, you are not able to perform these actions within the data tables. But outside of the data table, you are able to perform these actions with the help of a button. That's what I'm keeping here, guys. It is not possible to perform the actions like view, edit, and delete the data within the data tables. But outside of the data tables, we're able to perform it. So these are the differences. The differences between the galleries and data tables. When to go and use the gallery, when to go and use the data tables. When we need to go and use the data tables means whenever if you want to simply go and display the data in the form of a table, your requirement is just if you want to display the data in the form of a table, then go and use the data tables. If you want to do any customizations, if you want to perform any actions, then data tables not preferred. Go with what? Gallery. So in the interviews you will get a question, what is a gallery, what is a data table, and what is the difference between these two? When to use gallery, when to use the data tables. So clearly I listed a few differences. What is the main difference between the galleries and data tables is this responsiveness case. By default, galleries are not responsive, whereas by default, data tables are more responsive. This is the main difference. This is the main difference. There are few more differences there as I listed. You can go and explain these differences if they ask you in the interview. So this is what is meant by a data table. So almost if you see whatever the grid view I am showing here and whatever the data table we are preparing here, almost both are same. But there are few differences is there. So if you want to do any customizations, if you want to perform any actions, Go with the gallery. Go with the gallery. If you want to just go and display the data, means better to go and use the data tables. If you use the data tables for displaying the data, it will reduce a lot of your efforts. But if you go with the gallery just to display the data, means it will waste a lot of time. Why? Because we need to design the gallery in such a way. So when your requirement, if your requirement is just if you want to display the data, go with the data tables. If you want, other than showing the displaying the data, if you want to perform any actions, then go with the galleries. So this is what the difference between the data tables and galleries. So this is about all about what is meant by a data table, how to perform the view, edit and delete actions, and next one is what is the differences between the galleries and then data tables. So whatever points I'm keeping here, the same points I'm keeping here also. Fine guys, let me stop here. Let's go with the questions now.